best messages I get are from parents that say, hey, listen, my son's grades are completely different, right? The way he treats his mother is completely different, right? His attitude towards everything is like, it's night and day. I don't know what you did to my child, right? And those are the messages that mean the most. It's not a secret. It's not a secret. Who you surround yourself with is who you ultimately become. So just to keep putting these athletes in front of these people that are just amazing humans.
Run it, baby. Ricky Cheese, baby.
Hey guys, it is your boy Ricky Cheese with another episode of Grinding for Greatness. On today's episode, we've got Conor Beebe. Conor and I will discuss when he qualified for the NCAAs all 4 years, his Beebe train facility and the new second location in Tampa, the Little Ninjas program, and his days at Central Michigan with Scotty Sentes. So sit back and relax and enjoy another great episode of Grinding for Greatness.
Good to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. You're one of the very loved coaches in our wrestling community. Now, we're just going to go right into it. Obviously, you've wrestled, your whole life as a kid, through high school, through college. But then after high school, after college, you got into coaching yourself. You coached, I think your first stint was at Gardner Webb, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you were there 2010 to 2012?
2011.
2010 to 2011?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, one of the things that I noticed as I was doing my research is they said that you brought 4 guys to the big show, which was the most that Gardner Webb has brought since 6 at that time. So that's a pretty awesome accomplishment. Talk to me a little bit about Gardner Webb and the 4 dudes that qualified for the big show that year.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience. There was a lot that happened in that 1 year that I was at Gardner Webb. We were moving from probably one of the worst rooms in probably the country, despite what division it was. We were moving from a little tiny room that had rats in the corners and snakes curled up. And me and the now head coach, Daniel Elliott, buckled down. We found an old YMCA that was kind of extremely run down. And me and him and the team that was there at the time literally buckled down and built a completely new wrestling facility for our athletes. So it was really a learning experience for me as far as being in a Division I room on the other side of things, not being an athlete anymore. And basically building a program from scratch. And they were very good. Coach Wentz and Daniel were very good at letting me take the reins in a lot of ways to kind of build me up as a coach. They gave me the opportunity to run practices, do a lot of recruiting, probably the best job that I could have had right out of college. And I was second guessing that job going into it because I didn't know entirely what I wanted to do. But through that experience and coaching the guys that were there, the 4 that ended up making the tournament, and having that experience in the corner at the national tournament, it kind of created this drug that I have for wrestling.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I love the sport and I love being around it. And I've been fortunate enough to be around greatest wrestling minds, in the country. And that staff there was, one of them. I told my guys today after practice, my coaching is just a melting pot of individuals that have inspired me throughout my years. And that's what I'm trying to give to them. It's not really me, right? It's a melting pot of all the inspirations that have been in my life in this sport and outside of this sport that I'm trying to, pass on.
Yeah, and your wrestlers are very fortunate because you've been around some high level, intense but good people. You started at Fox Valley with Martinez. Tell me a little bit about that real quick. How young were you when you started there?
Well, actually, we started at Waubonsie, right? So we were the Waubonsie Braves. Started when I was probably 4 years old, being in the room.
Wow.
Started wrestling at 5. And then we turned from Waubonsie Braves, we Fox Valley Wrestling Club. And I think to this day, It's probably the number 1 or number 2 kids club ever to come out of Illinois. You know, us and
That's a bold statement, especially with Harvey Twisters.
that's the other one. So it's the Harvey Twisters, and there's an argument there. There really is. With the Harvey Twisters, they might have a slight upper hand on us, but we were damn good.
Yeah.
We were really, really good. And if you just look at the track record of the head coach, Jose Martinez, I just got done being inducted into the Illinois Hall of Fame. And while I was there was 2 of his wrestlers there.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
That's huge.
And then the year before, I think he had 3 wrestlers. And then the year before that, I mean, the amount of Hall of Fame wrestlers that this guy has produced, Jose Martinez, is incredible. He's got to go down as one of the Illinois wrestling gurus for kids club wrestling. The guy is just a mastermind.
Yeah, and it speaks volumes for him and the program that many people are getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I'm sure it's got to make him so proud seeing you and guys like you getting inducted. That's what it's all about. You know, he's handing down all his knowledge, and you put it to use both on the mat and now as a coach. You mentioned something earlier. I'm going to go back to the NCAAs with your Gardner Webb guys. You mentioned something about that it was such a great experience for you being in the corner at the big show. You know, you got to realize it was just as big of an experience for those 4 guys because you've been there as a wrestler. You wrestled in it 4 freaking times. So, you know,
experiences.
Listen, just getting there, you know, as well as anybody else is a major accomplishment. I know it wasn't what you wanted. I get it. You wanted to be on the podium. But sometimes it just doesn't happen, man. It doesn't mean, look, I'm going to name a guy right now, and it's not to you know, put him down because I love him and I think he's one of the best guys around. Julian Ramirez at Cornell. I think he should have been on the podium since the first time he went there. He's qualified every year. Just didn't happen. Round of 12. Both, you know, it is what it is, man. But just getting there, come on, dude. Unbelievable. But what do you say to those guys as a former competitor at the big show? Do you remember, you know, what the conversations were with them?
I mean, that tournament is such a grind, like you were talking about before. I mean, it's everything's got to work in your favor when it comes to that tournament. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
Everything, like your sleep, what you had, your diet, you know, you've got to show up, you know, the best version of yourself in order to compete and have fun through that tournament. But as far as competing in a tournament like that, you know, just reminding athletes when you get to that big stage, that reminding them the reason why they got in this sport in the beginning, right? You love this sport. This is your craft. You love what you do, right? So as a coach back then, it probably wasn't as smooth as of a conversation as I have with them right now after all my experience in coaching. But I just tell my athletes that the bigger the stage, the more fun we have.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the best quotes that I've ever heard was, "It's okay to be nervous, but it's not okay to be nervous about being nervous." Right. So it's just go out and have fun and rip it up. Let it fly. Wrestling is changing and people want to see points on the board. Right. And let's face it, when we're scoring points, we're having fun. Right. If I shut down my wrestling and I wrestle conservative and I try to wrestle for a 1-0 victory, that's not fun for anybody.
Right.
So I tell my athletes, be the athlete, be the guy or the girl who gets on the mat, who people want to be in the stands for, right? Be that guy, not the guy that, oh, so-and-so is about to wrestle, I'm going to go get some popcorn from the concession stand.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're entertainers. Go entertain. You want to grow this sport? Let's grow it together. Let's score points. Right.
I was just talking about that to somebody, you know, who wants to see a guy go rack up 7 minutes of riding time? It's boring. It's not good for anybody. You know, like you said, nobody enjoys that. So I get what you're saying there. And I agree with you 100%. So I want to go back to Beebe Train real quick. I'm going to kind of bounce all over the place as it hits my head, but Beebe Train it was originally founded in your home state of Illinois. And I believe the first one is 2012.
Yes, I believe
2012 in Illinois. And then you opened the very first Florida chapter in 2019.
19 or 20. So when I moved to Florida, I moved with the intentions of getting out of wrestling. I think I've said this many times. Yeah. I left college wrestling, and it was kind of in the balance of, do I go back into college wrestling or do I try a different venture? And I ultimately decided that I wanted to try something new. Got out of wrestling for all of like 2 weeks until I got called
Yeah.
back in by a couple of Florida coaches who caught wind that I was in town. And they pretty much just asked me if I would be willing to come in every once in a while and volunteer my time. And it started from there. And from there, we had a couple athletes that were committed from the very beginning. A lot of them are making a ton of noise still to this day. But it turned into, a group of maybe 6 to 10 kids that would show up, but they would show up consistently. And I said, as long as you guys show up consistently and you come in with the right attitude and work hard, I'll keep showing up.
Yeah.
And so basically through that, it just kept my interest and my drive to be in the sport. And then ultimately I decided to go full time in, I think it was 2020, but it could have been a little bit before that.
So between 19 and 20.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And then
Okay.
we got a building, the first building that we got, and we've been trying to grow it since then.
Yeah. So the first one was in Pinellas Park, and now the second one is up or is in the process in Tampa. So now you've got 2 BB trains, which is an incredible opportunity for the Florida wrestlers to take advantage of the wealth of knowledge that you offer. So the Tampa, where exactly is that located for those people
It's
that want to check it out?
So Cooper's athletic facility. So it's an athletic facility for high level athletes, strength and conditioning. So it's a good opportunity for athletes to have, the best of both worlds. You've got the strength and conditioning side of things, and then also the wrestling side of things. So it's a dream of mine to have an all encompassing, facility where it comes to recovery as well as strength and conditioning, your wrestling needs, all of the above. So,
Yeah.
so this partnership, we still got to grow it. We got a lot of work to do, but it can flourish into something great.
So is that the kind of athletic facility, training facility? Because I think we have one around me. Do you guys typically see guys like from the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Buccaneers, the Devil Rays? Do those guys train there as well for like their strength and conditioning, their speed and agility, stuff like that?
Yeah, they have a bunch of professional athletes that
Yeah.
come in. They had a couple athletes that were going for the combine, and then they have anywhere from golfers in there and
Yeah.
professional everything pretty
There's
much. So
yeah.
it's good for our athletes just to be around that, right? And
Yep.
see that and see the high level training that's going on and see that the attention to detail that those guys are putting into their crafts.
Yeah, it's invaluable to see that kind of stuff. There's a few of those places around the state. I know we definitely have one in the south area. All right, I'm gonna bounce back to the Harvey Twisters real quick just to see if you recognize this name because he did go to a college that you coached at, Northwestern. I don't know if he was there when you were there, which is another thing. Coach Conor Beebe coached at Northwestern, but the first time I ever heard Harvey Twisters, my son Bryce, who's 5 right now, when he was 11, he was wrestling for Cesar Charbonneau on like a little youth team in Kingsport, Tennessee. It was the AAU Scholastic Elementary Duels or whatever in Kingsport. And so he was on that team, and they had the best kids from all over the country. Harvey Twisters was there. They walked in all wearing the same T-shirt, all looking like they just wanted to rip people's faces off.
Legends.
Legends, yes. And their coaches walking there, all with their chest bowed out. And I'm like, who the fuck is this crew, man? Well, I found out real quick. So my son Bryce, he's all of, I don't know, 60, 70 pounds soaking wet. And he has this kid named Yaya Thomas from Harvey Twisters. And I'm like, bro, just go out there, do your thing, man. Nobody's going to touch you. You're friggin' this, you're that. I'm just pumping him up. I don't know who Yaya is. Kid looks tough, but I tell Bryce, go out and do your thing. Yaya put a fucking clinic on with Bryce, man. Took him down, let him up. Took him down, let him up. I think he tacked him in like, I don't know, minute and a half. It was ugly. It was not fun. Bryce didn't like it at all. Years down the line, we see Yaya Thomas wrestling at the NCAA. So you got to know who that kid is.
Yeah, I helped recruit him. I know the family very well. Great people.
Wow.
He's an awesome, incredible individual.
What an athlete, bro. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
he's talented. He's
The
talented.
speed.
He's
Oh
still
my.
I believe he's still trying to make world teams. So
Yeah.
he's incredible. His family's incredible. Yeah, so I helped Yaya, and I left right before he got there, but he was in our room quite a bit while I was there, as through the recruiting process and things like that.
You were at Northwestern when? When did you go there?
Man, you're putting me on the spot. I
I think it
left
was,
in 2018, so 4 years
yeah,
before that, so I think 10.
right. So those were the two colleges that you coached at, D1s, Gardner Webb and Northwestern.
Correct.
Were you anywhere else, or those were the two?
Those were the two.
All right. Now, when you were in college, you were at Central Michigan. Our boy Scotty Sentes, a beloved Florida wrestler and now coach. You were teammates with him, right?
Training partners.
Training part. So what weight did you wrestle in college?
I was 133 for the first 4 years, and then the last year I dropped to 25, and then bumped up to 41 with 2 months left in the season.
Yeah, I remember watching you at 33 and 41. I don't think I've ever seen you wrestle at 25.
Well, that's probably a good thing you didn't, because that was not a smart decision.
That had to be a massive cut for you, bro.
Yeah, well, it taught me a lot to tell my athletes it's not worth cutting weight.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. That is for sure. So tell me a little bit about the relationship with Scotty Boy.
I still talk to Scotty probably, every other week.
Yeah.
He's my guy. We freaking battle every single day, and we still talk, and he just got one of my guys.
I was just going to ask you, does he use you to recruit? He has to. He'd be
I
stupid
was
not to.
absolutely just got Max Brady.
That's right.
I'm extremely excited about Brady going out there. That kid's special, and I think Scotty realizes that. I think he knows he's got a good one coming.
And Max, I tell you what, I don't know him on a personal level. I know him just from watching his whole career, and I've spoken to him a couple of times, but a polite, well-mannered, really nice young man. And that kid, you're right, man. He's something special. He's got something. He's got those intangibles that coaches just love to see,
Mm-hmm.
And it looks to me, as an outsider looking in, it looks like he loves to compete. Is that true about him?
He loves to compete, and there's a few athletes that have come through that are that athlete that literally, and I tell all my athletes, I want you to be so coachable that if I tell you to put your head down and run straight into that brick wall, I have to catch you before you hit the wall. And Max is one of those. It's special. BD Yakes is another one of those.
Okay.
These guys will literally, anything that I tell them to do, they'll take it to heart, and they'll do it, right? Max is one of those athletes that, he wants to be great. The best is, you guys haven't even seen the surface of what this kid's going to accomplish, just because of his motivation, his drive. That's all he thinks about, right? He thinks about wrestling 24/7. How can I get better? An example of that, I brought him to a camp with me, and at the camp we were working on literally basic footwork, right? Which I think everybody needs to work on, right?
Yeah.
Footwork is the key to everything when it comes to combat sports.
Sure.
But just a little bit about him. Went home, and the next day I was getting videos of him doing it and saying, "Hey, is this correct? Is my knee placement in the right spot? Is my foot in the right spot?" Like the most basic of techniques, right?
Yeah.
And he's so obsessed with his craft that he's like, even the most basic things, he's like, I need to dial this in, right? Because this is the key to everything. So his attention to detail, and just the way that his mind works. And if I tell him, listen, this is what I want you to work on, the next day, he's sending me videos of, hey, listen, I saw so and so do this. You think this would work in my wrestling? So the kid is just, 24 hours a day. He's thinking about wrestling. The kid's going to be, I'm telling you, he's going to be special. And just the evolution of him from, his first state title to now is just, it's night and day.
It's huge. Oh yeah, for sure. And that was so easy to see, even from somebody that doesn't really know him, just being a wrestler and knowing wrestling. So easy to see from his first state title to the last one. Different kid altogether, man.
Absolutely.
Even just the way he was warming up.
Yeah, the Fargo National Tournament is going to be our proving ground to see how he's developed. And the other thing too is he's learning to have fun with it, right? The bigger the
That's
stage, the
important.
more fun we have,
Yeah.
right? And that's the biggest thing that we preach is the bigger the stage, the more fun we have, not the more anxiety we build up, right?
Right.
We're not scared of competition. We're not scared to compete. We're excited to compete. And like I said, create the bigger stage, put all the lights on me, the more excited I'm going to be.
Yep.
Right. And that's how wrestling's got to be. And I don't think it's that way all the time with, I think the outside pressures that a lot of these athletes are getting to win, right? Instead of enjoying the journey and enjoying the moment and being excited about showing your craft. I always tell my athletes, some people, love to strum the guitar. Some people like to dance. We love
Hmm.
to whoop ass.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what we love to
Yeah.
do. That's our craft.
Absolutely.
So the bigger the stage, the more exciting. And so we'll see how he does. He's got a big tournament this weekend, along with a couple other of our athletes. So
Hmm.
we'll see how they perform.
Does Scotty realize how fortunate he is to have this kid? Does he realize like he's a diamond in the rough, what he can really develop him into? Does he know that?
He does because he trusts me.
Yeah.
Right? He really
Right.
trusts me. Like I said, me and Scotty have been in the trenches together. He's one of my best friends in the
Oh
world.
yeah.
So I think that just the relationship that we have, I think he trusts me. And the other thing too is realizing a lot of these people, out here in the wrestling community need to realize that a wrestling academy offers more than just your training, right? We have connections to a bunch of different college coaches, and we're going to reach out to
Hmm.
these coaches and try to connect you. And
Yeah.
that's what a lot of these wrestling academies, not just mine, right? It's not just mine. And I'm not saying that high school coaches don't do that either, right? Because they do. But I'm saying that through our experiences and our network, we have the ability to reach out and try to get you noticed, and that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
If you're the right type of athlete,
Of
right?
course.
That's the other thing too, is that's why Scotty trusts me, is because I'm gonna tell him the honest truth about you,
Hmm.
right? Because I'm not. If you're not the type of athlete that I think can wrestle at the Division 1 level, I'm not going to tell him, yeah, listen, this guy's great, and then risk
Right.
one down the line who actually is great and who is committed to it,
Hmm.
losing a scholarship or an opportunity. So, and
Right.
I don't really have that problem, right? Because most of my athletes that come in, they want to be great.
Yeah.
So I haven't had that problem yet, actually. So
I'm
we'll
going to
see.
put you on the spot right now. I'm going to probably make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, maybe make you squirm a little bit. Would you go as far as to say Max Brady is the best Florida wrestler to come out of BB train yet? Because you've had some great ones.
I think he's got the potential to. I
Okay.
mean, we've had a lot of good ones, right?
Oh
And
yeah, Mohina.
and a lot of them still, the verdict's still out, right? So
Yeah.
we've had a lot of them. So the verdict's still out for him. I think he could blow the doors off,
Yeah.
right? Just the his attitude and his and the willingness to get better. But we've got other ones that are creeping on his tail too. So,
Yeah. So
like I
who are
said,
the up and comers? Who are the up and
I,
comers that we need to keep our Who are the up and comers that we need to keep our eyes on at
I
BB train?
told you about Reed. I mean, everybody knows about Reed now. I
Well,
mean,
Reed was from
he's a
Zephyr Hills Christian. Now he's at Tampa Jesuit.
and
Yeah, I've been watching him for a couple years now. Tough kid.
he's so Reed's a BB trained OG. That guy, that kid's been with me since I was volunteering my time. So,
Wow. Okay.
um, so Reed is. I'm telling you, he's the same with Max. You haven't even seen the start of it, and
Yeah.
now he's with a great staff
Oh my
at
God.
Jesuit. They're unbelievable. They take care of their athletes, and they
Yep.
really care.
Yep.
Same with Mariner, right? Those
Yep.
coaches are the same way. There's a commonality between all these athletes, right? It's not just me, right? They have a supporting staff around them that you know has their best interest at heart, and
Yeah.
they're going to do everything in their power to make these athletes awesome, right?
Hmm.
And get these athletes to you know put them in the best position to achieve their goals. I'm not going to say that they're going to promise that they're going to achieve their goals,
Right.
because nobody can promise you that,
Right.
but they're going to do everything in their power to put them in the best position.
Yeah, but see, a lot of these coaches, and to no fault of their own, they're very limited as to what they can do with and for their kids. For example, certain programs out there, the room is not the greatest room in the world. So you have a really good kid, but he can't advance. He can't get better because, as you know, iron sharpens iron. And if iron is wrestling, copper, it ain't going to happen. And that's where you come in. That's where, kids don't have to transfer to get the competition they need to get better. They can go to baby train. They can go, it could be whatever. I'm just saying, they don't have to do that because they can come to a guy like you and get that top competition because you got a lot of studs, man. BB trained is unbelievable. I just love what you're doing with it, man. Mohina, Ethan, where is he at? Brown University?
He's at Brown. Yep.
Yeah. And he's in what, his second year now?
I believe it's
or he's in his first and he's
going, he's going into a second.
Okay. Did he redshirt this year or did he wrestle?
I'm not positive.
I think he
might have medicaled.
Medicaled, he got hurt?
Yeah, because you can't redshirt at
that's right, Ivy.
Yeah.
You're right. That sucks.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that you go. I mean, you're going for the education and the
education doesn't suck.
It's not going to suck when he's making pretty good money good with that
degree. Exactly.
That's what you. I mean, that's what these athletes need to realize when they go to the next level is you're going for the next 40 years.
Yeah,
you're not going to college for the next 4 or 5 years of your life, and I think he recognized that. It's like, I'm going to get that education. Yeah, wrestling's a big part of my life, but it's not terrible coming out with a Brown degree,
Right. So. Yeah, there's things that suck a little bit worse than a Brown degree. That's for sure. So when did he talk to you before he made the move over to Lake Highland Prep? Did he consult with you a little bit to hear what you thought about it?
So Mohina was not 100% in the BB train. He just came into our practices every once in a while, or I used to go out to Tampa Prep. So I would probably say he talked to the guys at Tampa Prep, which again, those unbelievable coaching staff that they used to have.
Jake and Bricker. Oh yeah.
Yes. Unbelievable. Great guys. I keep trying to pull Jake in every single day, and I send Bricker messages all the time.
He's in retirement, bro.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
He's got the baby.
I'm dragging him back in slowly.
I hope you do. I love Jake Campbell, bro.
Dude, he's another guy. One of the real ones, and he's one of the best hidden gems in the state of Florida. So was Bricker.
Dude, look what they did with
all the time to leave in me.
Look what they did with just Artelona. I'll just name one kid, man, Anthony Artelona. Now, yeah, Artelona was a great wrestler, but he got so much greater once those two got a hold of him, man.
Just unbelievable humans. And
yep,
you could ask Jake. I text him probably every month saying, "Hey, when you coming back in the room? Hey, when you coming back in?" And then we started getting him biting a little bit. I got him biting now. He comes in there on Sundays every once in a while. So
good.
I'm trying
to
get
him back, man. We need him, man. Florida needs him, man. And
hey, if you hear this, Florida needs you.
Yeah, he'll hear it.
Get your butt back in the room. Let's go.
Yeah, we're gonna send this video to him. I'll private message him to him and say, "Hey, do me a favor, just watch this. Tell me what you think."
Let's go. Get him back in the room. I'm slowly doing it. I'm telling you, I'm breaking.
Good. And Brick, he's in college. He's a coach in a college now, right?
Yeah, but he's got one of our athletes too. Yeah,
who's he got?
One of our athletes. He's got Hernad's out there.
Okay.
He's actually in our room right now for the summer and training just a unbelievable kid, and it's good to have him back in the room. That's what we're trying to build. We're trying to build an atmosphere that these college athletes want to come back in and beat up on our high school athletes. And Hernad's now in the room and he's making an impact. And all these kids are best friends. It's amazing. I'm just seeing, the friendships that are built here. Hernad's excited about coming back and being in our room and
cool.
Giving back to our wrestling community. So
cool,
it wasn't even a question. He's like, "Hey, coach, you haven't practiced? Yeah, let's go. Get your shoes. Let's go."
I love it, man. I fucking love it. That's so awesome. How big of a role, if any, did Sentes play in you coming to Florida? Did he play any role in that, or you were coming no matter what?
No, like I said, I was getting out of wrestling.
That's right. You did say that.
Yeah, so I was getting out of wrestling.
Why Florida? What made you decide Florida? Do you have family?
I had a business opportunity out here, and let's face it, living in snow and freezing cold weather my whole life was something that I was trying to escape.
Right.
And Florida's not a bad place to live. You walk outside, I'm on vacation every day. So
It is a tropical paradise, especially the West Coast where you're at. And I love the friggin' West Coast of Florida. It's amazing. Just the water looks different, man. The
beautiful.
crystal clear water. Obviously there's other places. You got BB trained. You got other, wrestling schools or academies. What makes BB trained different? Why BB trained over somebody else, other than the fact that you're Conor Beebe and you can offer knowledge that many others can't? But other than that, why BB trained?
I'm not going to go as far as to say why BB trained over everybody else, because I mean, everybody, there's plenty of great places,
Of
right?
course.
But what I will say is that what we do at BB Trained is we're very good at, depending on what age you are, it's a different mindset, right? If you're one of our little ninjas, our goal is to make
I
you
love
fall
that.
in love, with the sport, right? That's our goal. We want to make you fall in love with the sport as much as we do, so that it becomes a drug to you, right?
Yeah.
So that you want to be in that room as much as possible. So that's the goal. Our goal at our Little Ninjas program is not to get medals and trophies right now. We want you to learn the wrestling language, which means learn high level technique at a young age.
Yeah.
High level technique that's probably not going to be successful at your age right away, right? It's going to take time. We want you to learn how to drill, learn how to spar, learn high level technique, and learn how to be motivated and have fun at this sport.
Yeah.
Wrestling at that age shouldn't be what a lot of people think it should be, right? A lot of people think that if my son or daughter's not leaving the practice bloodied and beat up, it wasn't a good practice,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we put stresses on our young athletes that it's like you wouldn't even put that stress on yourself that you're putting on your 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So when it comes to our little ninjas, our goal is to have them learn the language and fall in love with the sport. I want you to love the sport as much as I do, right? I want you to be the athlete that's waiting at the door before your parents, with your wrestling bag and shoes before your parents are ready to leave.
Right.
So that's what our goal is with our little ninjas. And then our advanced program, it's about cultivating that love. And like I said before, the bigger the stage, the more excited I am, which is something that I had always dealt with in my competitive career. The anxiety of competing and putting all this pressure on yourself to perform. I'm trying to get them out of that, right? And the attention to detail when it comes to high level technique and development, right? We're about development. I want development for the long haul. I'm not shy about what my goal is at BB Trained, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not shy about it. My goal is to have these athletes give themselves an opportunity to wrestle at the next level. That's what the goal is, right? Through that, you're going to create amazing people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody says your goal is to create amazing people. Well, that should be your goal anyway,
Right.
right? That's what we do, right? It doesn't matter if you're a high level wrestling academy or a high school coach that has kids that aren't that interested in wrestling. Your overall goal is to create men and women that can contribute to society, right? That's going to happen through what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get these athletes to use wrestling to further opportunities in their life.
Yeah.
Right. So talking about Max earlier, he's got an opportunity to go to a great school in Campbell that's going to serve him for the next 40 years of his life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So our goal with our athletes is to get them to a point where they have an opportunity to wrestle for a Coach Bricker or a Coach Sintez or any of these other coaches.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what level it is, right? Because let's face it, if you wrestle D1, D2, D3, NAIA, you're a bad dude,
Absolutely.
right?
I'd say that
Or
I've said that on other shows all the time.
yeah. And even those athletes that don't get to that point, if you're surrounded by athletes that are striving for that,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to in turn become an amazing human with great values and great habits that are going to translate into the next point of your life. Whether you started as a freshman or you started in our little ninja program at 5 years old, you're going to create habits that are going to serve you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I love that name, the Little Ninjas.
I stole it. I can't take credit for it.
That's all right. I don't care. I love it, man. It's funny when you're saying about having the fun and stuff like that, that, your goal for your little ninjas is not just winning medals. They got to have fun and fall in love with it. Because Johnny DeJulius from Ohio State, he was on the show a couple of weeks ago, says the same thing. He does 80 camps and clinics a year, that guy. He travels all over. He's a fucking lunatic. I love him. But
Jumps
he
out of
said,
planes while doing it too.
oh, yeah, jump off bridges and shit. Dude, he's crazy, bro. Like,
He's awesome. He's
oh,
a
yeah,
good dude too.
you got to love him. Well, you were at the Florida Pride camp when he was there, right? Yeah,
He's like
yeah.
a stand-up comedian when he's doing his clinics. It's amazing.
Exactly. Exactly. He just has a way of keeping their attention. And that's what he said. He goes, I got to be able to connect with these kids. And my goal is not to, turn them into state champions. It's to make them fall in love with the sport, let them have fun, let them think of me as a big brother for the next 4 or 5 days, however long they're there, have fun with them and just, do stupid things and make dumb jokes and just let them laugh. And I think there's something to be said for that, because if the kids aren't falling in love with it and it's not fun for them, how far are they going to go?
Exactly.
And
It's one of those things. It's like any subject in school. If
right,
you didn't have any interest in that subject, you're not going to be going in there being like, oh, I can't wait to learn as much as I can.
right,
Right. But if you were in anything that you enjoy doing, you're going to naturally invest more into it.
100%.
Right. And if it just becomes, well, I'm only doing this because my dad is making me do it and I make him proud when I do it. It's like, how far, like you said, how far are you actually going to take this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got to be, you got to want to do it for yourself, and you've got to be invested in it in a way that it's like, I love this. I want to get as good as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Right. And it starts a big reason why we can't retain athletes is because we put pressure on them right away.
Yeah, for sure.
This sport is the hardest sport there is. It really is.
Bar none.
It's the hardest sport there is. And this is coming from, I had 2 brothers that were MMA fighters. One was a world champ and the other was on The Ultimate Fighter, right?
Yeah.
They were the highest level of fighters. And both of them will tell you straight to your face, wrestling, the training regiment of wrestling is harder. Obviously, the actual competition's a little bit different because there's different stressors there.
Right.
But the training that leads up to it and the overall sport as a whole, wrestling's harder. There's nothing like Division I wrestling, right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that. So, and I tell my athletes this, realize that just you being willing to toe the line, you're an elite human. You're in an elite company because you're willing to do that while all your buddies are making fun of wrestling for this or that or whatever. Right. They're only doing that because they're scared of towing that line and putting all the chips are in your court.
Yeah. It's like being a
Navy
Navy SEAL.
You lose. Yeah. Your victories are yours and your defeats are also yours. Right.
Exactly.
In football, that's not the same thing. In basketball, that's not the same thing.
Right.
Right. So it's different.
Yeah. And to the point that you were just talking about, another thing that Johnny DeJulius said that really stuck with me, he said wrestling is by far the toughest sport and you will suffer, and you're not going to be willing to suffer for something that you don't love. But if you love that sport and you learn to love it from 4 or 5, 6 years old, it sucks, but you'll be willing to suffer a little bit more than if you didn't love it. So there's a lot of truth to that, man.
You'll learn to love the sucky parts of it.
Right.
And you'll learn, you
embrace the suck.
What is that Mike Tyson quote? Discipline is doing the things you hate to do and doing it like you love it.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And there's a lot of things in wrestling that, let's face it, that a lot of us don't like, right? Those practices where you're forced to get to your breaking point and figure out a way how to battle through it. That's not always fun. Right. But what is fun is figuring out your human limitations and getting past those. Right. Wrestling is a vehicle for human development.
Yeah.
Right. Is what it is. That's at the end of the day, that's what it is. Right. You're developing your human potential. What can you do? Right. What limits can you go mentally, physically, and how can I, put that all together in competition and then live a complete life, right? A complete wrestler's life with discipline, gratitude, and work ethic. Right. It's, there's no substitute for time, consistency, and effort. Right. And that's what wrestling teaches you.
For sure. 100%. No, I agree with everything you just said. I want to just take this time real quick. I asked why BB train, but I'm going to answer that question for anybody wondering why BB train. 35 overall state championship medals, 92 overall state placing medals, 3 national prep champs, 4 national prep medalists, 5 Fargo national champions, 5, multiple Fargo Nationals All Americans, a cadet world champion, multiple age level world medals, 2 times Super 232 Super 32 champions, multiple Super 32 All Americans, and last but not least, a preseason Nationals champion, all from BB Train. I don't know too many that can claim that, man. That's a lot of fucking success at BB Train, and that's not just dudes. That's girls too, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate, like I said. I've been fortunate enough to have the support that I have. The parents that surround what we're doing are unbelievable. They
Yeah.
just a little bit ago, one of our mats was taken back from the high school that we had in our room, and I put out a post. Hey, listen, we need to fundraise for mats, and we ended up fundraising a ton of money. And one of the parents showed up one day and was like, "I have a mat." Right.
Crazy.
And so that's just the support we have. And now, like I told you before we started talking, now we're getting a sauna with that money that we fundraised.
Yeah.
Right. So I have just so much support, and the athletes that show up, like I said, they freaking love it. Right. They want to be great. So
Yeah.
I'd be cheating them out of an opportunity to be great by not, putting in everything that I have into
Mhm.
them and investing into them. And then also the family support that I have alone, right? My wife is the backbone of the BB Train brand that people don't realize the things that she does in the
Yeah.
background.
Oh, I bet.
Um, she just gave a whoop over there, but
Whoop
um,
whoop.
yeah. So she spends hours that people don't see.
Yeah.
And then just the family support and the family dynamic with my own family and her family, and the support that we have through that. It's not just me. It's not just me. It's a
I'm
community.
sure.
It's a
I'm
community,
sure.
and it's a beautiful community to be a part of.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm so happy for you, and I just love seeing all the great stuff you're doing and the new location opening up and growing. Have you ever considered, or maybe you've even done it, bringing the two schools together? I'm talking about the Illinois and Florida, and having like one big training session, or even at like a tournament or something like that, or a big, I don't know, get together. Could that even be done?
It can now that so the one that you're referring to is Carson, my little
Yeah,
brother
Carson.
has a training facility. Now he calls it R13 against my wishes. He switched it over to
What's
R13.
R13?
It's the ranch, so it's in a new state of the art facility. It's ridiculous. It's awesome.
Okay.
So they call it Ranch 13 for the 13 values that all of his athletes he strive to have.
Okay.
Um, so to be
Makes
a
sense.
complete human. So all the character attributes. So he's now starting to build it really serious. Before he was like I was. He was just training, a group of 6, animals
Right.
in his basement, and now when I say his basement, he's got a complete wrestling room in his basement, so it's not like
Right.
he's invested in it just as much as I am.
Sure.
um but now he's going full throttle into the R13 thing, so it will happen. I mean, it will happen. I think he's got somewhere like 70 athletes already, and they just started going serious
Wow.
into it. So yeah, it'll happen eventually.
Here's what I was gonna ask you. So obviously, I see you everywhere. I see you at the high school state championships. I see you at the freestyle and Greco state championships. I see you at national events. Have you ever ran into, I don't know what I would call it. I wouldn't say like friction, but has there ever been coaches, and you don't have to name any names if there are, that have been like, this is my kid, stay the fuck away from them? Has that ever happened to you? Because I've known it's happened with other people in other areas.
Yeah, I mean, coaches get territorial. And
I
I
don't
think,
get that. I don't understand that. I would love for my kid to be, if I was a high school coach, I would almost force my kids to train there.
which we do have high school coaches that do that too, right? So
Yeah.
it's both ways. But I think a lot of it is is things that I have to change too. So it's not just the friction on their end. I think that my buddy isn't one that's really inviting per
Yeah.
se. It's just something that, I mean, I'm a quiet guy, right? And I kind of keep to
Yeah.
myself. And sometimes I know that I can come off the wrong way, right? Even my own parents that start investing, they're like, "Yeah, I didn't think you liked me at first because you don't really talk. You just sit against the wall." I mean, that's just my
Yeah.
personality. Is like I'm not. I don't know. It's just me, right? And there's a lot of tournaments where I'll be in a corner somewhere, right, where nobody will even see that I'm there,
Yeah.
just watching my athletes and taking notes on
I've
what we need
I've
to.
actually seen that with you. I've
It's
seen
most
that.
it's most of the case,
I'm
right?
like,
So
what are you
it's funny
doing?
because my athletes and my parents will be like someone will be like, "Oh yeah, where's BB at?" And they're like, "Right up in that corner."
Right,
Yeah, you
right,
can't see him because that's on purpose,
right, right.
right? So I think that it's both, right? It's not just them. It's me. I have to be a little bit more open and inviting and into what we're doing at BB Train, and I also, you know, I'm trying to make a point of asking them, listen, what can we do for you? Right?
Right.
What can we do for you so that, I mean, the better our wrestling community gets, the better that BB Train gets.
Yeah.
Whether these athletes are BB trained or not, right? The better the competition gets, the better we get. Right? The
Mhm.
better that, programs like Caveman gets, the better we get, right?
Right.
So the better the competition and the more, that's the beauty of the wrestling community, right? The better our competition and the better leaders we have around us, the better we're going to get.
Yeah.
So it's not just the coaches; it's me too. I have to. I'm working on changing a few things, but yeah, coaches do get territorial, and they just. I mean, when it comes to wrestling academies, they've got to realize that our goals are aligned with yours,
Yeah.
right? At the end of the day, when these athletes are winning state titles, they're not wearing a BB Train logo, right?
Right.
They're wearing your logo, right? And so, and I make it a point for my athletes. Listen, if you're in BB Train season, which is right now, you're wearing BB Train, right? Because we're trying to build this brand, we're trying to build this family.
Of
But when
course.
it's high school season,
Right.
they're wearing their school colors, right?
Yep.
Because you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Mhm.
Okay, so I make it a point to have all of our athletes. The only thing that they're allowed to wear that's BB trained is maybe a t-shirt and socks, right? But if you're on the stand, your t-shirt better not be showing, right? It
Really?
better be it better be your high school, right? Now in the off season it's different,
Right.
right? In the off season you're wearing our brand to
Yeah.
camps, clinics,
Yep.
tournaments, right? Because we're trying to build this brand
Of
nationwide.
course.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's it's not a thing like this whole talk about we're trying to steal athletes, the wrestling academies. We're not. I mean,
It
we're in
doesn't
it for the
even
same
make
thing.
it doesn't even make sense, dude. Why would somebody say it? First of all, stealing from what? You're not a high school coach, dude. Like, what do you're not stealing anything.
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense to me.
And I
Like, if
don't
you
think
were
I
a high
ever
school
will be a high
coach,
school coach because I don't like rules.
and if you were a high school coach, I would understand, but you're not. You have no. At least I don't think you have any allegiance to any fucking high school. You're going to
I
train
don't.
all the kids. Exactly. Exactly. So that's just stupid. I don't understand that.
Here's the
Hey,
deal: is anybody that shows up and comes into my room, my goal is to make you as good as I possibly can.
exactly.
It doesn't matter who you are, right? If
Right.
you show up and you come with the right attitude and you're willing to be coachable, I'm going to try as hard as I can to make you as good as I can. It doesn't matter if you're a first year wrestler. It doesn't matter if you're a Max Brady or a Reed, right? It doesn't matter, right? I'm going to try to make you as good as I possibly can with the time that you're in there. And if you want to invest and you stick with it, then let's let's do this together.
Yeah.
Right? And then I have athletes that pop in here and there, which is good too. That's fine. Right? For the time that you're in there, for that hour and a half, 2 hour practice, I'm going to invest everything that I have in making you better.
Yeah.
Right? And if I don't, call me out. Right? That's what I tell my athletes. I'm like, because there's days where I'm dragging. Right? I tell my athletes, listen, the same way I call you out, I expect you to call me out.
Yeah, for
Listen,
sure.
coach, you didn't really bring it today. Good. I'm going to respect you for that.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is my mission is if
Mhm.
if I expect that out of you, you should expect that out of me.
Yeah. Do you think BB Train could ever grow into or become a regional training center, like an RTC for Florida? For
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that's a pipe dream.
yeah,
Yeah, for
that'd
sure.
be
I
awesome.
think any of these wrestling academies can. It's just the right support, right? I mean, when it comes to the RTCs and things like that, you've got to have the financial support
Yeah.
to be able to pay athletes, number one, be able to, if we were to go into an all out RTC, I'm going to need a bigger staff,
Hmm.
and better facilities, things of that nature. But yeah, I think so. I think with the right supporting pieces, you know,
I know you got to get going. You've been away from Mrs. Beebe all day long, and she's probably wanting her time. So I'm going to ask you one more question, then we'll let you go. I forgot what that question was. Florida has gotten so much better just since 2018, 2009. What do you think the biggest change has been? Why is Florida getting much better?
the people, it's people who care. I mean, there's no secret to making greatness,
Yeah.
right? It's surrounding yourself with like-minded people and people that want the best for you, which is not always, it's not always everybody, right?
Right.
There's
For sure.
actually, in fact, there's a majority of people that say that they want you to be great, but once you start doing better than they do, it's a different tune,
Yeah.
right? So I think Florida is now, which I can't speak to what it was before because I wasn't here before.
Yeah. I can.
But I can speak to what I've seen and the growth that I've seen here, and that is the people that are surrounding Florida wrestling are the right type of people
Yeah.
that want to see it flourish. Number one, and number two, they're getting these kids interested at a young age,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's you've got to, in order to grow wrestling, you've got to educate the community, right? And I think that's what these Florida coaches are doing now is they're educating the community on what wrestling can do for you,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
what wrestling can do for their child, even if they don't end up wrestling in college. Just the values that it puts in and instills in you, and like I said, the habits, right? The habits. The best messages I get are from parents that say, "Hey, listen, my son's grades are completely different, right?
That's
The way
huge.
he treats his mother is completely different, right? His attitude towards everything is like it's night and day. I don't know what you did to my child, right? And those are the messages that mean the most, right?
Yeah.
And that's I'm sure a ton of these coaches are getting the same messages. It's because
Hmm.
it's the people. It's not a secret. It's not a secret. Who you surround yourself with is who you ultimately become. So
Absolutely.
just to keep putting these athletes in front of these people that are just amazing humans.
Well, Max Brady couldn't be around a better person than Mike, man. Peterson.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Dude.
He's the man.
That, bro, him, his brother, holy Kevin and Mike, and what they've done. I mean, West Point and where Mike was, what Air Force Academy or Naval Academy, one
I
of them.
think
He was an academy guy, right?
yeah. I'm not sure which one, but
Dude, what they've
was it
accomplished
Air
in their
Force?
life.
Air Force. Yeah,
Yeah, they're just great human beings. Forget about
amazing,
wrestling. Forget
amazing.
about wrestling. Just like right, they're like for
Yes.
those people that don't know these guys. Am I lying, bro? They're like
No,
the best.
absolutely. And Clay, the head coach. I actually grew up with the French family.
Okay.
We know each other from way back when. So
Yeah.
also
Yeah. Good people.
unbelievable family and great
Yeah.
people. So they're in good hands. Like I
That's
said,
awesome.
and
And I go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's people, right? It's role models that you put yourself in front
Oh
of,
yeah.
and like I said, that's what my coaching is all the best from all the people that I've surrounded myself with, right? And it's
Yeah.
the same for Max is probably gonna Max is so obsessed with the sport that he's gonna become a coach. So hopefully he takes the reins on what I'm doing.
Yeah. There you go. Bring him in the BB train. He'll be one of your top level coaches. That'd be awesome.
Yep.
And I'm sorry. Last thing I have to ask this: have you been asked yet to serve as a team leader, a counselor for FAWA for one of the national teams, Fargo?
I was on Fargo a few times. I'm on the board.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah,
I was going to bitch and moan. I was going to say if you weren't, they're slacking, man.
no, I've been on the Fargo national team for the last 2 years, and like I
Perfect.
said, I'm fortunate enough to be a part of that because there's a lot of amazing coaches in Florida that probably get passed over that shouldn't.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think they're doing a great job.
Oh, they are.
Like I said, that's why Florida's growing. That's your answer right there. Is those people that are heading those boards, and the people that, not only them, but the coaches that are in the trenches that don't have necessarily the support that they should.
Yeah.
And making the most out of what they get.
Absolutely. All right, Conor, thank you for giving us an hour and 5 minutes of your time. You're the longest episode yet, but I love it, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I'll see you soon. Are you going to be at Spartan Nationals in the freestyle Greco qualifier?
Absolutely. And we have 2 teams going too, so we're going to be there.
Beautiful.
We also have a camp going on June 4th through the 7th. So check out our website, bbtrain.com,
Okay.
for all of our information. And if you come in, we're going to try to get you as good as possible.
That's Beebe Train, BEEBE, bbtrain.com. Check it out, or just hit up Conor. You got an Instagram?
We have, BB Trained Wrestling, I believe.
All right, BB Train Wrestling at the Instagram, and bbtrain.com. He's also on Facebook. You also get a hold of him at the Florida Wrestling Room. So you'll see him around, and definitely say hello if you don't know him. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate you.
Conor. Absolutely. You got it. Take care. Hey guys, Ricky Cheese here. Thanks for listening to the show. Remember, you can watch Grinding for Greatness on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the GFG YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, and leave a comment on your favorite episode and who you'd like to see next on the show. I'll see y'all soon on the next episode of Grinding for Greatness.